when Roaring Kitty first invested in the stock, the thesis from Wall Street and the financial world was basically that physical game sales were over, brick and mortar was over, everything was going digital. And Roaring Kitty basically came out and said that he believed the opposite was true. That this trend was not playing out in reality, that people still wanted physical things, they wanted a real shop to go to, etc. How would you say that thesis has played out over the past 5 years?
I'd say quite successfully. They have changed a lot. The only issue I would say was diluting their shareholders technically, right? Because they were selling a lot of shares, but there was no other way to get money. So you cannot blame them for that. And because of that dilution, they now have a king-sized cash pile of about $6 billion. So zero debt, about like 400 or $500 million of short-term debt, which is basically nothing. You can always consider short-term debt as that is going to be covered by your inventory or something. So you can basically, if it's not really, really big, you can basically always ignore it. What's important is long-term debt, and it's zero, basically zero. So they have improved that a lot. They have improved their gross margins. They have turned positive on their net income. They are lowering their expenses drastically. Their executive compensation was about 55 million in 2021, just because the stock went up. The executives, because there's some rules there how they can get bonuses, and just because the stock went up, they attributed it to their successful, turnaround, etc. But it wasn't that. It was just small gamma squeaks, right? And they earned about 55 million. At the moment, the whole board earns no more than 2 million. It's just an insane reduction.
That's crazy.
So it's playing out perfectly. And when it's a turnaround opportunity, you have to wait like 3 to 5 years for it to play out. And for now, it's playing out very, very nicely. I'd say we need to wait a little bit more, maybe another 3 years for it to play out fully, due to Bitcoin mostly.
Yeah, we'll get to the Bitcoin purchases. Don't worry. I'm just trying to go logically through everything. So one of the things that is quite obvious from the graphs that I'm just scrolling through the graphs for people so they can get an idea of things like the annual revenue over the past 15 years, revenue per store, annual gross profit. So it seems like the actual physical amount of money that GameStop is taking in as like a headline revenue figure peaked in 2017 at around $3 billion and then went on a careening downslide over a number of years where, they were cycling through a lot of CEOs. They were, not treating the business particularly well.
Yeah.
And then it hits rock bottom in 2020, probably, COVID related as well as this.
Absolutely.
And then since then, there hasn't actually been like a marked increase at all, really, in gross revenue. However, obviously their margins and profits have gone up. So where are they making these savings? And how have they turned the company profitable without increasing revenue above 1.25 billion-ish?
The problem is they had about 6,000 stores, and most of them were not profitable. They were just eating money. So they started closing it, actually, even before Cohen. So they started closing it, and when Cohen became a CEO, and at the moment, I think it's about 3,000. So they have reduced it about 55-60%. It's a huge reduction. So logically, if you reduce that, you'll reduce revenue too, right? Because, for example, if you had 100 stores and more of them, like most of them will sell something, right? So if you have less stores, you'll sell less. It's just logical. So you'll have less revenue. But what's important is to find which store is not really giving enough for the company, right? For example, it just barely makes it. It's either breaking even or even losing money. So you are just closing them all down. You're just forgetting about them. And you're leaving the cash cows, the ones that pay you the most. So because of that, the revenue fell down, but because those stores were the main points that brought value, main ones that brought profit, the overall revenue, overall profit didn't change, and that is why gross margins improved and other margins improved. So the way they're cutting costs is basically there, and also they have basically just stores, I'd say.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And executive compensation and other stuff.
Yeah, it seems like they're actually making an increasing amount of money off of hardware compared to software. So I'm currently looking at the GameStop revenue by segment. So collectibles and others has sort of increased a little bit over the past few years as a percentage of revenue. But what's really interesting to me is that software, since it seems 2011, has been decreasing as a portion of revenue. The software, does that mean just the games themselves?
Everything connected to them. So it's video games. It's basically it's like PC games. It's everything connected to that. So maybe some DLC, etc., etc.
The other interesting thing is watching them diversify as well, away from just hardware and software into other collectibles and whatnot, especially Pokemon cards, and offering card grading, I think is a fantastic move. Is there other areas in which you think they could expand their offerings to see those gross revenues or gross profits go up? Is it possible that we could see them increase their annual take, or do you think that they're at a ceiling of where they can be in terms of the size of the gaming industry and what's possible with a brick and mortar retailer?
I think that they're kind of at the ceiling. The most they can do is that they already did. So they started selling some kind of hardware like TVs, maybe gaming accessories, and etc. So I'd say that that's the only thing that they can do right now is just improve costs, improve margins, and that's all. It's not going to be something like tomorrow they're going to earn like Palantir or some other company like that increases their revenue by 20, 30, 50% per year. That's not going to happen. So the best case scenario is for them to improve it to about 200, 400 million. And 200, 400 million net income would be just purely from operations, not from investment like right now. So at the moment from operations, they're doing minus 20 million. So they're earning basically most of their money from interests on their cash reserves.
That's funny. Do you expect to see that number improve in the next set of filings? No, not the cash reserves. The net margins.
You mean like when they will send the Q2, Q3, Q4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because their leases are ending this year. So for the stores that they have closed. So I'd say that yes, they will have a huge difference in NPS, etc. And especially due to Bitcoin, it's going to rise very drastically. But that's going to be just one-time thing. And after that, it's going to stabilize a little bit.
How important do you think their Power Up members, like their member community, is? So I saw you highlighting it, and it says 2023, you talk about how the Power Up was rebrands to GameStop Pro with a higher annual price, $25, which is really nothing, let's be honest here. You get 5% off pre-owned games, 5% off collectibles, 5% off clearance, $5 reward coupons, 2% back in reward points on purchases, and early access to product drops. That's a pretty good deal for $25. Do you feel like that this is Ryan Cohen's attempt to recreate some of the like specialty customer service that he had at Chewy. You know, so at Chewy, I know he talked about how they wanted to have the operating logistics and, you know, sort of smoothness of Amazon when they were shipping out stuff for the pets, but they wanted it to have a more personal touch, basically, because people love their pets, and if you know, people, if a company is nice to their pets, people tend to remember it, and you can very easily generate like quite a loyal customer base. Or I know he's talked about how GameStop is very different. Like the customers aren't very sticky. Like people will go to, you know, they could go to the GameStop store, and if it's $1 less on Amazon, they'll just order it from Amazon. Do you think do you think the membership is part of him trying to create that sort of Chewy like loyalty?
Absolutely. Well, it's basically a retention thing. So, because they have this subscription, so if you're paying it, you're more likely to use that coupon that you got, right? If you didn't get it. So imagine you are going to GameStop and you know that you have that coupon or anything, right? You likely buy something, maybe even buy something more, right? So it helps with retention. It helps with people coming back. It helps with people buying more even. So I'd say it's a huge thing. And the way that they increase the prices, it's the right thing to do to help the business.
Good news, everyone. My book about GameStop, The Craziest Story Ever Told, is now finished. Well, almost. Still waiting for the final draft. So, in the meantime, I think you should look at pre-ordering it or any one of the multiple fantastic, beautiful t-shirts that I have designed in order to sell with the book. Thank you, everyone, for your patience over the last few years while I have been finishing it very slowly. And I am really, really excited for people to read it. Link is in the description below. Enjoy the podcast.